are you?
But who are we?
Who are you separately? And who are we together, maybe?
Yeah, that's what she said. Go ahead, man.
Me?
Yeah. Well, I can answer it. I'm just trying to be, chivalry's not dead. Time to let you go first.
So I'm Candace Robinson. I am a child of God. I'm a wife. I'm a mother. I'm a hard worker. Just out here trying to enjoy life and live it to my fullest. That's me.
I am. Wow. I guess jack of all trades. I have a lot of talents, which makes it a little bit difficult to try to figure out what exactly your true passion is. So that's always been a struggle for me. But I really ultimately enjoy like helping, anything that I do or that my talent is in. I find myself reverting to just tying that into helping that person as an individual, to help them to understand just life. Despite, like, I play saxophone, I can work on vehicles, I'm an electrician by trade, but despite all of those different things, and also I do a little sewing.
He does a lot.
I do a lot. So, but despite all of those things, what I'm in my core, what I'm really concerned about is just the individual. And so that's who I am as an individual. I think as far as us together, we kind of laid back. Everybody kind of views us as being pretty laid back. And so I think what we do as a couple, we try to help other couples, encourage young people, just try to instill, just help them to enjoy life. There's more to life than just the things that we run into every day that may frustrate us or tick us off or cause us to not be Christ-like. There's so much more to life than that, and just really trying to get people to look at the forest. Sometimes they miss the forest for the trees. So you're looking at these small little things and just trying to get them to look at the big picture
and I guess give them something that we didn't have in the beginning of our relationship.
Yes, Lord, yes. Yes.
Yeah, I think that's what we are like, I guess, together, just being that helpful set of people, maybe helping other couples have some tools that we didn't have.
Oh my goodness, yes.
I hope that answers those questions.
Yeah.
Oh yes, you more than answered the questions. All right, you all. Usually we start with, so how did you meet? But I want to start with, because Brother Robinson said, oh yes, and I'm like, okay, let's stay there. When you say tools we didn't have to be able to enjoy life, what do you mean? Tools that we didn't have at the beginning of our marriage. Talk to us about that.
Well, I'll tell you what, this is something that just really like sticks to my craw. And it really, sometimes I can get emotional about this because it is so irritating and so frustrating. When Candace and I were dating, and well, we were engaged, and so the women are really good about this, about giving, tools, advice, words of wisdom to single women or women to soon to be wives, to advice on how to be a good wife, how to be a good mother, just those different things. Men, on the other hand, my brothers, this is where we have let each other down. I could not count. I could count on one hand, outside of my father, how many men talk to me about the things that you're going to run into or your roles, responsibilities as being a husband. It is literally felt like being thrown out to the wolves. And so this is something that I vowed to not to repeat that cycle. I try to talk to young men that are considering being married. I've talked to, and I continue to talk to those that aren't married, that their marriage is struggling, and just give them those words of advice, those things to look for, those things to think about, those things to consider. Oh my goodness, it's overwhelming. Wow, I'm brothers. We have to do better. We have to do better. There's a lot of things that, and again, it talks to the man being prideful and not wanting to appeared weak or vulnerable. There are struggles and obstacles that men deal with that other men won't talk about. They will not reveal themselves unless it's somebody that you're really close to, somebody in the family, somebody that's not even related to, affiliated with the church, that can just talk real with you. I'm that guy. I'm going to talk real to you. And I'm going to lay it out there table and help you and just give you the tools to be successful in marriage and in life. So, yeah, get kind of emotional talking about that because that's something that doesn't happen often.
Brother Robinson. Brother Robinson, I'm not gonna lie, you were an answer to prayer, my brother. There have been single women who've been mentioning the fact that the brothers are not being prepared, that the church isn't doing their part to tell men God
Yes.
expects. They're not breaking it down. They're throwing scriptures at people, but not breaking it down. So you are an answer to prayer. So you all, let's back up a little bit. We're gonna get to this spot of more advice because it sounds like you are a wealth of advice. But tell us, how did you meet this amazing, beautiful woman that is on this road trip with you?
Wow.
His version and her version.
You want me to get my version first?
I can't wait to hear this.
Well, I tell you what, it's I just got out of the service. Just got out of the service. And I come back to church. There's personnel has changed. You got a new minister. I didn't know who he was. The urban deacons, and literally her mother like brings her. She came in town. Did you move? Is that when you moved, or you just happened to come to town?
I think I just came into town.
Okay, just came into town, and mother like drug her to me and introduced her to me.
My mama.
And I was like, okay, how you doing, Candace? Okay. So there's this beautiful lady that I just met. Of course, at the time, it was very interesting because I was in a relationship. It was very, it was kind of toxic. It was kind of toxic at the time, and so I'm just kind of taking all this in, and that's kind of we kind of got to each other because when I came back, our congregation used to have like a very very popular, very powerful ministry, a chorus ministry. So I decided to bring that back. We hadn't had a chorus in a while, so started to bring folk together and whatnot. And I did not realize that she also sung, and so she helped. And then after we talked, we found out her background, and I was like, "Ooh, great!" It's like I need somebody, to like really help like get everybody together. And so it just, make a long story short, it's kind of blossomed from there. Ended the relationship that I was in previously, and because I saw something in Candace that was very peaceful, very calm. The spirit in which just her mom and her dad and feelings and emotions, or spirits of people. I have a sixth sense. I can usually tell by a person's spirit when they come up to me whether or not they mean good. It's kind of blossomed from there. Make a long story short, I'm gonna let her tell her story. So
This is good. So first, can I say Michael doesn't talk a whole lot. He is not very expressive.
No.
He said earlier that we are both very laid back, but when it comes to like words and deep conversation, if you wasn't listening the first time and didn't hear what he said, you probably missed it. You missed it. He says all the time, you wasn't listening to me, and I ain't about to repeat it. So hearing all of what you just said, he said it. That's how we met. We met at church. My dad at the time, he was preaching. I lived in Texas, and I moved back home to help my mother take care of my father because he was getting sick. And my mother had said to me, like a long time ago, she was like, "It's somebody here in Louisville, Kentucky that's for you." I'm like, "Mama, I'm not like really trying to listen to Mama, but whatever." But we met at church. I think I came to visit one time, and it was chemistry right away. It was chemistry right away. And so from there, it just blossomed. And actually, Brother Streeter asked us to get a chorus together because there wasn't a church at the time. And just from there, it just blossomed. And he was in a relationship when we met each other. And,
at the end of that, so you gotta let this one go at the end of that.
So I believe in the whole, like when you meet your person, you just know that they're the one, and that's how I felt when I met Michael. It's how I feel to this day, and it's not complicated. It's very simple. Lots of peace. So yeah.
Okay, we may have missed a little bit, but what it sounded like happened was your mother introduced you to him in a way, and your mother was like, "Look, your man is in Louisville," and you both saw peace in each other. That's my takeaway. The peace that you saw in each other. Brother Robinson, talk to us a little bit about this peace that you saw, felt. How did you understand this peace that Sister Candace brought into your life?
How did I understand it?
Yeah,
Well,
what did it feel like? How did you perceive this?
I don't know how to answer that.
Was it the look in her eye? Was it the way that she sounded? Was it the drama? Did she stop a baby mama drama? Like, how did she bring the peace?
I'm a people watcher. The things that you do when nobody's watching is what tells me a lot about a person. So everybody has ran into this. Do we can put up the biggest front for anybody for any period of time. That's why people get bamboozled into thinking that this person that they met is the one, and then they find out their true colors. So I believe uh, in watching people. It's the nonverbal communication. It's how they respond to other people, how a person treats, respects their parents is a huge indicator as to how they would treat and respect you as a person. And just how they treat others. I'm just, what's important to them. What without me asking, just through your actions, you show me what's important to you. I think it's probably more. It's nothing that face to face that revealed that to me. It's really just watching people move when they don't realize that they're being watched. I'll tell you a lot about it all the time. I even roll back around. Take a look at you. So I don't know. Did I answer your question?
I think you said that you watched her. You watched her and perceived peace. Um, Brother Robinson, something that you mentioned earlier about the men sharing with men. If you were to talk to a young man and tell him, watch her, because you'll see whether or not she brings peace or not, what would you tell him to watch for, or listen for, or look for?
Well, I mean, it's whatever that you desire in a person, in your partner, whatever you desire, whatever it is that you that would augment your life. That's just what you. I can't tell you what those things are. Everybody's different. Um, so it's just whatever speaks to you. I mean, of course, yes, you've got the textbook or the bullet point characteristics of what you want to see in a person. Trustworthy and somebody that may be working, somebody that maybe whatever. And then some people get more specific. Hey, I want somebody that's taller than me, whatever that may be. Or they got to be a certain weight, or what. Those things come and go. Those things are physical attributes. Some of the trustworthy stuff. That's obviously that speaks of their character. But those are things. What really matters is you can find people that meet those criteria, but it's not a good match for you. So that person has got to speak to your spirit. It's got to speak to your soul. It's got to whatever it is that you all have to fit, just like a puzzle, just like a hand in a glove, just like a puzzle, just like gears on a transmission. You got to fit. Everything's got to, so that's what you look for.
Okay. He says, look for the fit. Look for the fit. That's beautiful. That is beautiful. Okay. All right. Okay. So tell us then, how did you all progress from dating or meeting each other to marriage? Like, how did you know that this person was the one?
Happened pretty quickly. I moved to Louisville, Kentucky July, and by like November we were like officially dating, and then by May he proposed to me. So you said how? I mean, our relationship just developed week after week, and I would say that Brother Robinson knew what he wanted, and he wasn't slow about that. As laid back as he is, he wasn't real slow about that. Some might say that's pretty quick, but we also waited like a whole nother year before we got married too. So yeah, I gave you the timeline. So
You said Brother Robinson didn't dilly dally because he knew what he wanted. That's good. That's good. All right. Is there anything special or specific about the engagement or wedding that you need to share that you want to share?
about the engagement or the wedding,
Mhm.
well, a couple of things come to my mind when I think about the engagement. I do believe in, like, when you meet your person, you know that person is for you, and that's who you're supposed to be with. But our family is a blended family. Um, I had a daughter. Michael had a son, and I know on purpose we kind of like just took our time with blending our families together. And there was, just so many different things in that transition. Our children mean a lot to us, and didn't want, even though we knew that we were ready. That was one of the main things that we talked about, just making sure that our children were okay. And then as far as like the wedding goes, I think just being surrounded by our family and friends that day. We didn't have like a big fancy wedding or anything, but the fact that all of our family was there was amazing. I had moved to Kentucky, so I didn't have any family in Kentucky, so my family traveled. And Michael had some family that traveled too in the city, but Michael is from Louisville. So for all of our family to come together that day, that's what brought tears to my eyes on that day. It was just beautiful. I mean, if family is important to you, you know what that feels like. There's nothing like it. And then friends coming and filling in. We had literally one of the musicians on that day. He was a no-show, and but my friends who are like my family, they fell right in. Nobody would have ever known that we had like a whole musician like not show up. So amazing day.
Wow, that's beautiful. So, looking back on some of your expectations of yourself, of a spouse, how have your expectations that you had before marriage, how have they changed compared to now being married?
Dear God. Uh, I think for both of us, they changed a whole lot because there's one thing about there's a big difference between dating and being married. Being in the same roof with this person, and so now they get to see all your idiosyncrasies, all your yes. Oh my goodness. that all changes. That's one of those that you may have walked in with a plan X, Y, and Z, your expectations, but you better throw everything out the window, or at least don't write it in permanent marker. Better write it in pencil and be prepared to erase and revise and adjust and what have you, because this is, hey, you take those vows. Okay, we're gonna be together, so you gotta make this work. So, I certain things that you just can't continue to have a hard line on. I mean, you got to coexist. And then once you think you've got it figured out, as individuals, as we continue to go through life, we change. So the person that I was at 30 is a totally different Michael that is at the age of 50. Totally different. And she's got to like, who is this dude? I was like, I don't know who this guy is. It's like, this is not the same person that I married. And the same for me. I literally, and there was like this huge shift. I'll never forget it. I was sitting in the driveway. She was in the car, and it was like I thought I had it figured out. I thought, and then I was like, after talking to her, I was like, dude, I don't know who this person is. I do not know. I've got to go sit down. I've got to go sit down. To like break out a blank sheet of paper because I got to start this thing all over again. This is not the same person. So, life is it's like dough, right? And whatever shape it comes in, marriage and whatnot, you've got to shape yourself to it. You have to in order to exist. You have to. Is it going to be easy? No. Are you going to be frustrated? Yes. You might say some things that you probably shouldn't say. Yes, you are going to have moments where you're going to like question you're like, dude, is this my person? Like, who is this? But that's where you understand what life is. If you look yourself in the mirror, if everybody honestly looked themselves in the mirror, you will, everything that you may have issues with or see with that person, you can look at yourself and see where you are doing the same thing. You are not the same person. And just be listening. Look at
Can you say that again? We missed it.
What's that?
Can you say that again? We missed
Say
that.
it again.
Yes, thank you.
Just talking about just looking at nature. You plant a seed. The first little blossom that you see comes through the soil or whatnot to when a plant is fully matured and it actually produces tomatoes or cantaloupe or whatnot. It's always changing. It's always, you cannot start out putting the seed in like a little clay pot and expect that plant, as it continues to grow, it's gonna outgrow that little pot. You're gonna have to plant it into the ground. And so just as you may have this expectation in this box, you got to change that. Take it out of the box, bust down the sides. Hey, let's work with this thing and make it grow. So that's what you have to do. I don't know if I answered the question or not.
Definitely. That was great. That was absolutely great. Candace, did you have anything?
I would say just stay the course. I mean, you know, whatever you thought it was going to be. And then when you're in it, it is something completely different, but there's something that you have to remember like what brought you together with this person. Like that's a real thing. Like there was a connection. Connection just doesn't go away, you know, and really staying focused on that. You're just going through a test. And you will continue to go through tests. But you have to know what the common you know, goal is, and what there was a connection initially. So it's just a matter of like getting back there, and don't just get so absorbed with being maybe upset when things come. It's just called life, and take a moment, cool down, and just know that it is going to be okay. Faith is everything in this thing called marriage, because it's not what you think it's gonna be. And I think that's what, you know, a lot of our females, we have 2 girls, and I tell them all the time, you're watching TV too much. And that's not real. That's literally not real. That's not what it is. And I probably need to say it 50 more times to them so they can, you know, realize like what the real part of it is. And there just probably needs to be more stories shared upon like what it really is. So that's all. I could go on and on about that, but that's my
That's
take.
good. I think all of us would be good to heed. TV is not real. The relationships you see on TV are not. I think all of us would be really good to heed that advice. So tell us, how did you all cope during challenges in deciding not to walk away?
Oh, goodness, Lord Jesus.
You're like really asking all the questions.
Yes, he is. Oh my goodness. How?
Breathe. Don't talk. Like
Pray.
like literally, like yeah, pray.
Oh my goodness. Yes.
But for real, don't talk. Because talking, take a moment and don't say anything, because words will get you in trouble and you end up saying stuff that you shouldn't say.
Man, be careful of who you share information with. You can't talk to everybody about everything. Just the words of the wise. If you got to keep other folk out of your marriage, keep it out, keep them out. I mean, you will know those that mean good for you, those that you may get from. But I'm one thing that Candace and I can say, we pride both of our parents on not even trying to get in between our parents at any stage at all. Yes, my dad would offer some words of advice. My mom would offer some words of advice. But that's it. Y'all work it out. Y'all work it out. You know, and you know, of course, dads with the sons will be like, hey, whatever decision you decide to do, you just let me know. I'll support you 100%. Don't necessarily have to agree with every decision that I make, but just know that you need somebody as a father. I'm here for you. But he never swayed me in any direction. He was just being point blank open, just like talking to somebody on the outside that has no ties or relation to you. Just giving you both the pros and the cons, the good and the bad, all of that stuff. But yeah, be quick to listen and slow to speak. Please be slow to speak. Please be slow to speak. Slow to speak.
All right, y'all, help somebody here. I want you all to break it down for the people in the back. If you are not talking, what are you doing? In order for you to breathe and take a breath, what are some little practical things that people can do to not talk when they're in a heated moment with that spouse? Do you go to another room?
Oh, you better believe it. Go to another room, go in a car, drive, whatever it is. You better leave, and that other person needs to respect that. I know some relationships where it's like you better not leave. I want you to stand here, and but no, that's not good.
Yeah, that's craziness.
Yeah, that's craziness. So I'd rather deal with if I got to take a couple of licks going out the door. If I'm dealing with a person that don't want me to leave their presence, but for my own sanity and for both of us to continue to live to see tomorrow, I need to go out that door. I need to go. I need to woosah. I need to drive around the block. I need to drive to my, whatever it is you got to do. Go out and listen to some music. Whatever it is that brings you peace, brings you back centered. Meditate, pray. Of course, at first when you probably too high, so you start walking. That's all you can say. So you don't know what specifically you're gonna be asking to pray for. You just got to get out of that situation at that moment and calm yourself down.
Yeah, that's a hard one.
Woo.
For because I would say with me and Michael, we are laid back. I would say sometimes it's easy not to say anything. This is man. I tend to get quiet.
Okay. All right, you all. We're gonna let them pop back in. And I love what they're talking about here with breathing, not speaking when you know emotions are high. This is good. This is good. All right. All right. Can you?
It went out for us for a second.
Yes, yes. Candace, can you say that just one more time to make sure we get this
Yeah.
wisdom?
I was saying that with 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 me, when I get upset, when I'm really mad, it takes a whole lot for me anyway to get mad. But when I am really upset, I am quiet. Some people are the complete opposite. They have like so much to say. But Michael is the way that some kind of way you have to just find a way to not speak. Like some kind of way, find some self some type of quietness. Because half you're speaking off emotion and you have to be mature in those moments of being so upset. You have all this stuff running through your head that you want to say, even if you're saying, you have every right to say, or you feel like you have every right. It's God, you aren't going to get to the 20 years of marriage like some, or if you don't be quiet, like there's scripture on that. Like literally try to find some kind of way to be quiet. And sometimes our women, like, we don't know how to do that. Like, shut up, like, be quiet, shut your mouth. More ways than one.
Ooh, that's good, Sister Stephanie Booker Wilson says. She says that hush ministry is real. Ooh, this is good. Just shut up. The Holy Spirit close my mouth. Amen. Amen. Okay. So break down for us trust and boundaries. You mentioned a little bit about this earlier with being careful who you share with. But tell us a little bit about trust and boundaries in marriage. What do these words mean for you? How do you maintain that trust? What boundaries do you have to protect each other and to protect your marriage?
Um, so let me say this. I really feel like it's really important that you find people in your life that are going to pour into you that are wiser. They're experienced, sometimes older and wiser. A lot of times it's older and wiser. And I really appreciate the people that have been in my life. They were older and wiser, like they've already been here. And they could tell when I wasn't good, or if I just said one little thing and it let them know where I was in my relationship. And they were able to give advice on whatever it was that I needed to do. I didn't even have to tell a whole story, or maybe I did tell the whole story, but the advice that was given to me, it was good. And then with people like that, there's just like a maturity. There's a maturity level with that. So you know that you can trust them. You know, here it is. You're trying to, you're trusting your husband. You are having, like, there's boundaries and things there. But I think more importantly, a lot of times it is what's being fed in your head on a day-to-day basis, on how you can even know how to cope with trusting and having whatever your boundaries are with your spouse. Lot of maturity things with that. And so when it comes to like boundaries, I don't know, just as when I'm with my Michael, I mean, you kind of learn what those are. He learns what mine are early on, and I learned what his are. Like if he's upset and he's going out the door, because that's what he does. He will leave. I need to let him go. Chill and know what those boundaries are. Do you know what I mean? That's like that's a maturity thing also. So like if you're not mature enough to let the person like go, like it's gonna be like bad if you like don't figure out the trust thing, the boundary thing. And sometimes all it takes is one time for you to kind of step over the line with maybe the trust or the boundary. But hopefully you like figure it out really quick, because the way that Michael is, if you wasn't listening that first time and you missed it, you might not get a second. You might not get a second. That's how Michael is.
It sounds like what I hear you saying is the older and wiser people in your life are there to bless you. And this trust and boundaries issue really is about your maturity. Like, grow up. That's what it sounds like. That's,
Yeah.
that's good. That's really, really good. That's good. So, what role does God have in your marriage?
What role does God have in our marriage?
He is the role.
He said he is the role.
That's it.
Yeah.
That's it. Yeah. He's everything. He has to be. We wouldn't be. You wouldn't be talking to us today if he wasn't. We went through a very, very interesting time. Literally, it was 6 months after we got married. You know, Candace mentioned to you earlier that she came up here to help her mom take care of her dad. Well, her dad needed a heart transplant. So the Medicare A and B it wouldn't cover it. I think it wouldn't cover, was it the medications? I forget what it was.
It wouldn't cover any of
Yeah,
it.
it wouldn't cover any of it.
My dad wasn't gonna get a heart transplant.
Yes. And so fortunately for me, under my insurance, I had a clause that was called sponsor dependent, that I could put her dad on my insurance and he would receive the same amount of insurance coverage that I had. So he could get the heart transplant. He could get his medications for literally his medications was going to cost, I don't know, $3,000 to $5,000 a month. So, and so it would only cost 30 to 50 bucks with him being on my insurance. So 6 months after we got married, and we had to meet, I think it was like the IRS, there was like 3 different criteria they had to meet. One was, oh goodness, we had to provide 2/3 of his livelihood or whatnot, or claimed him on our income taxes, and there was something else. So we had to move him in with us 6 months after we got married. Now I'm just now getting to know my new bride, right? And so now her dad's got to move in with us. And at the time we were staying in this apartment. Okay, so
It's a whole lot. It's a whole lot going on.
there was a whole lot going on, and literally, if it was not for God being the center of it, we would not have survived that. We would not. It was what, 2.5 years?
Yeah.
2.5 years. 2.5 years. We had quite a few marriage counseling sessions too between all of this stuff. And babies, all of that stuff.
Babies.
Yes. So yeah, that was, if I wasn't the center of it, he's everything. He's everything. We would not be here today. That would have ended what? Less than 3 years in.
Yeah, a
Long time ago. Here we are, 21 years. So
Oh my goodness, you all. Thank you so much for
yeah, Daddy told me that, son, said, you are a better man than me. I said, I don't know if I could have done what you did. I said, matter of fact, I don't know too many men that would do what you did. That's the only thing I knew. I said, allow her dad to die, knowing that I had the means for him to survive. I could not live with myself in that decision. Could not. I had to.
honorable. Thank you for sharing that. That is honorable. Mm-mm. Mm-hmm.
Is the connection back?
Yes, almost, almost. Okay, I think we can hear you all now. Yes.
Michael, I was wondering if the connection was really bad.
Did you hear what I said earlier?
It has come back. It has come back.
Okay.
I think you were saying that you wouldn't want her dad, anything to happen to her dad without you doing what you could.
Yeah. I had to.
Yeah. Knowing that he had the means to be able to do what he did. And even his father was like, you're a better man than me, because I don't know if I could do that, because it's a lot, that's sacrifice. And so if we go to like the core of who we are, the core of our being, if God is in the center, you're gonna do what compels you, which is follow Christ and do the Christ-like thing.
Mm.
So we say all the time in our family, just forever indebted for Michael's spirit, because everybody doesn't have that. They don't have that spirit, and so God's very important.
Mm. That
So
is so,
that's just one huge aspect of what God has done, and how in our marriage, and how important he is in our life. I mean, he's everything. We literally would not be together if it wasn't for God.
mm, amen. That is so beautiful. I think that in a culture where everyone is taught to be so selfish, um, and everyone just thinks about me, especially for a man to decide that I'm going to be selfless for 2.5 years. It's beautiful. It's
Yeah.
really, really
And that
powerful.
wasn't easy going through that. That wasn't an easy thing, because
Mm.
now we're young. What are we, like 20, 26 and 30 years old at the time, and a blended family, and then we had two babies back to back during that time, and just a lot of life going on, and it's just not easy. And so how do you get through that? It's God. You don't have you some Jesus, you need to get you some Jesus.
Amen, Sister Candace. You can say that again. Amen.
Yeah.
Amen. So, looking back at your single self, how would you coach your single self, knowing what you know now, 21 years in, everything that God has brought you through? How would you coach your single self around marriage?
uh, I think probably with anything is like having those real conversations about what we talked about earlier, like how I think this is more so with females. A lot of times we look at it's like a fairy tale when you talk about like getting married. I want to get married. I want to have kids. I mean, like females are like that, like right out the womb we are. And you're just so excited about that, playing with your Barbie dolls and all that kind of stuff. When you really need to have those real conversations maybe early on, so you can kind of know like what it really is going to be. Like, let me tell you a story, sister, about X, Y, and Z. Sometimes I wonder about the different situations or obstacles that I've gone through in my life. And I'm like, why am I going through this? I know why. It's so I can be a testimony, and so I can tell somebody else a story. Literally, it's like all about storytelling. And you can't tell anybody a story if you haven't like actually gone through it. And so I think a lot of times just the sharing and having the real conversations, like somebody said in the comments, like just having real talks, like some kind of way finding yourself to be able to share some of your real life experiences, and it will help a single person be able to know how to overcome, or actually get a real overview of what this marriage thing really is for real. Because what we think it is, that's not what it is. It's something else. So, I mean, as far as like, trying to coach my single self, I would say like having more real conversations, somebody having more real conversations with me about X, Y, and Z. I think, Michael, you would agree. Right?
Yeah, I definitely agree. That's of course I mentioned earlier about not getting those type of conversations. So I'm definitely, gonna tell the single self, my single self, everything. Yes, this is the real. I don't believe this is what to look for. This might happen. This whatever. Just gonna tell it all.
Yeah.
Just talk about it.
Amen to that. So tell us, what advice do you have for single Christians who desire kingdom marriage? Brother Robinson, I need you to talk to the brothers. Sister Candace, talk to the sisters.
So repeat that question again?
Advice for
Ad-
single Christians
advice.
who are thinking about, desiring, praying about kingdom marriage.
Wow. Um, well, I guess, do you understand what being a husband is? What the responsibilities are? Being a husband, then being a father. What does that entail? What sacrifices are you willing to make for your family? Are you prepared, or uh, at least guiding your life or into a direction to which you can be that security, you can be that stability, you can be that leader uh, in your home, and finding that spouse that will be be a blessing, will augment your uh, augment who you are. Sometimes we just kind of settle, and we choose people that they check the box, right? They meet, as we talked about earlier, these set bullet points that you need to look for in a significant other. They meet those, but yet there's some holes. You know, I can live with those. Well, you need to prioritize those things that, again, we talked about a good fit for you, where the places in your life in which you need uh, that support that would augment your life. If those things are missing, prioritize those things. Find out which ones that you can or cannot live with. Right? What's one of those things that I gotta have? I gotta have it. I gotta have it. And you have to be true to yourself. Really. You have to be true to yourself. You really do. And it's gotta speak to you. It really does. And you have to be ready to make sure that you can provide for yourself. I don't know. I don't know if I answered that question or not. That's a difficult question for me to answer, but I don't know.
Because the whole advice thing, there's so much that you can give as far as advice goes. And it's not just these general questions about,
It's not case by case situations. Everybody's different.
yeah,
I don't know if there's a cookie cutter response to that question. Yes, there's some general guidelines, but it doesn't work for everybody. It doesn't.
yeah, because the advice that was given to us, or even our premarital counseling, was just like a bunch of fluff. It wasn't like real stuff.
No.
You got to find people that really counseling is really important.
Yes.
It's very helpful. Whether your man, a lot of times it's your man that doesn't want.
Right.
They I'm good.
No.
And
I'm talking to nobody.
And I'm like, babe, we need to go because we about to not be together. And so finding somebody that you can confide in that has wisdom and that actually knows what they're talking about, and that will actually get to know you and talk to you outside of counseling when I'm like screaming my head off because I'm so upset with what occurred today. I don't want to hear a scripture. I mean, you gotta find like people around you that are gonna like be there for you in the midst of the storms to calm you down. And like that advice right there, like finding your people, whether it's a couple or a person that can advise you through the storm. So I guess my little piece of advice would be to try to find a way in life, because when you get married, life still be going on. Like we've been married for 21 years and life is still going on. Like we have children and now grandchildren and all these progressions in life. And I don't know about anybody else, but that can be like overwhelming, all the things going on in life. And so how do you like stay connected? So we're in the car driving right now because we're going away to stay connected. We're going out of town to literally stay connected because we have not had any time with each other. We just had, moved our youngest child into college on our anniversary date. And we don't get that like, on one each other. I would say on a regular basis, we really try to connect with each other. Like that's like real life. Like we have to go to work every day. Our children need to be taken care of. We need to be taken care of. Like we're literally on the road right now. Like I almost was like, maybe don't do the interview because it may.
We certainly
A word of
appreciate
advice,
you.
like try to find some kind of way to have some maybe so.
Okay, I'm so sorry. Can you say that one more time? You was getting good and we missed it.
Connected, and I was just referencing to we are in the car right now. It's really going to we're going out of town so we can stay connected. That's one of my pieces of advice, is because when you're married, life is still going, life is still happening. But how are we going to be married for another 20 plus years? Like you have to find a way to make time for each other. So literally we have another grandbaby on the way, and I don't think either one of us is ready for grandchildren, but they're coming regardless. And so
if we're ready or not.
If we're ready or not. And so I literally was telling my daughter, I'm like, if little baby can just hold on 1 second, because I need to go be with your daddy for just a weekend. Can I just get a little bit of time in, because it's important? Because literally after the baby's born, just more life is happening. And so how do we stay connected? So we're going out of town and spending some time together. That's my advice. I hope you heard it all.
Oh my goodness. Yes, you all have blessed us. First of all, get your people that can give you specific advice about what you're going through. People who can counsel you. Get the counseling. I know you don't think you need it. Get the counseling. And the second thing you said is make time for each other so that you stay connected, because life is going to still be lifing. That was amazing. Thank you all so much. Is there anything else you want to share with us? Because those are all the questions. We fired all the questions at you. Anything else you want to share?
No, I think we pretty much
I
covered.
think we covered it all. We're very transparent and pretty real. I'm probably more transparent because of Michael, because he's like so cutthroat with whatever comes out of his mouth. It
Definitely blunt delivery. I
very,
don't.
very blunt, but that's very important though. You know, because a lot of times we live in this fairy tale world of you thinking that it's one thing and that's not what it is. And then you trying to get on the other side of what happiness looks like. And you end up being lost. So, yeah, I think we summed it all off. I hope we haven't messed up the interview too bad. And even if we need to make some clips or something to fill in the places where the connection wasn't good, you just let us know and we'll do it.
Thank you so much. I think the enemy was trying to keep us from hearing the most excellent of nuggets, but I think we got around him. But thank you all so much for being here with us. We are going to go ahead and close. So those of you that are watching on YouTube, thank you for being with us. We're going to close for now and let those who are in the room come off of mute. Bye, everyone.